welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Here's what's coming up on the program. Former Vice President Atiku says it's conflict of interest for President Tinubu's son, Sheyi, to be on the board of Chagri Group, owners of the high-tech construction company in charge of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. President of the Trade Union Congress maintains that government must come up with worthy wage proposal to meet the needs of workers. Let's begin by letting you know that news just in has it that the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company has reduced the electricity tariff payable to its Band A customers to 206 naira 80 kobo per kilowatt hour from 225 naira per kilowatt hour approved by the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. According to the notice, the downward tariff review of the Band A customers will take effect from today, May the 6th, 2024. This was disclosed by the company's spokesperson, Mr. Omorodion Olufadeke, via notice to customers. The decision to reduce the tariff may not be unconnected with the public outcry over the increase in electricity, with the industry observers, civil society organizations, and labor unions have described as insensitive. But the tariffs for bands A, or rather bands B, C, D, and E, remains unchanged. Well, so that's some great news for Band A customers for the Ikeja Electric. That's not all we have for you. The Vice President is expected to represent President Bola Tinubu at the 2024 U.S.-Africa Business Summit hosted by the Corporate Council on Africa in Dallas, Texas. The Vice President, who departed Abuja earlier, will join other political and business leaders across Africa, the United States, and others for the summit, featuring high-level dialogue, networking, business sessions, and the plenary. Among African leaders expected at the summit are presidents of Liberia, Malawi, Angola, Botswana, Cape Verde, and the Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho. Besides the summit plenary, Senator Shetima is expected to speak at a roundtable on African infrastructure investment with a focus on impact and returns. And to the issue of labor, the president of the Trade Union Congress, Mr. Festus Osifo, is asking governments at all levels to come up with their negotiation on the proposed 615,000 naira by the organized labor. Comrade Osifo, while on our political program Politics Today, explains that the current economic reality has spiked the cost of food, transportation, amongst others, including domestic products, and government must seriously address the wage of workers to meet their needs.
If you are going into negotiations, you don't go with your barest minimum. That is not how it is done. So if you are going into negotiations, you look at, from your own point of view, what do you think is fair, looking at all the parameters. So you put everything together. So it is now when you take that, value, or rather that position, the other party will now also come to the table with their own positions. Then you will now start counter-argument, offer and counter-offer before the minimum wage is arrived at. So that 615,000 naira is what the labor, TUC and NLC felt that with this amount, an average Nigeria will tend to be comfortable. But what we are saying is that this is our charter of demand to government. So the federal government will bring its demand, or rather its offer. The state government will bring its offer. Same thing. The organized private sector will make their case. Because in that tripartite committee, you have 6 state governors in that committee. You have 6 representation from the federal government in that committee. The organized private sector, they are about 12. Then labor, we have TUC 6, NLC 6. So that is the composition of that committee.
So we're all waiting for the government to put up their proposal, and let's see how this will end between labor and the government at all levels, both states and federal. And to the controversial Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, where former Vice President Atiku who has been a strong critic of the project, says the fact that President Bola Tinubu's son and his surrogates are on the board of the companies owned by Gilbert Chagri clearly constitutes a conflict of interest. In a statement by his media advisor, Mr. Paul Ibe, where he advised President Tinubu to focus more on attracting real investors than adopting alleged propaganda as a state policy. The former vice president noted that President Tinubu's son, Mr. Sheyi, is a director on the board of CDK Integrated Industries, a subsidiary of Chagri Group, which manufactures ceramic tiles and sanitary towels, citing a report by Paris-based Africa Intelligence News Agency, where it was revealed by the Corporate Affairs Commission that Mr. Sheyi is officially a business associate of the Chagri. The former vice president said it was not surprising that the Chagri Group had become the biggest beneficiary of what he considers the Tinubu largesse. The statement reads in part, thanks to the quality reporting by Africa Intelligence, suspicions have been confirmed that Chagri and Tinubu are indeed business partners, and it has been formalized with Sheyi on the board of one of Chagri's firms. To add insult to injury, this project that is being done in excess of $13 billion was awarded without a competitive bidding. From all indications, the so-called Badagry-Sokoto Highway would be awarded in a similar fashion at an enormous cost to taxpayers purely because Tinubu, as President Tinubu has put his personal interest ahead of the Nigerian people. The former vice president restated that it has become obvious even to the undiscerning that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is being done in a hurry purely because of the business relationship between the president, that's Tinubu, and Gilbert Chagri, the owner of High-Tech, the contractor that was awarded the contract for the highway project in contravention of the procurement laws, according to him. In the meantime, let's bring you more stories that the Deputy National President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, Mr. Azman Mustafa, is blaming the current fuel scarcity situation in the country on the nation's inability to increase its refining capacity. Mr. Mustafa believes that incessant scarcity spells can be curbed with the establishment of more refineries, while asking the government to bring the independent marketers into the conglomerate that can set up a sizable refinery. Is urging the state governors to consider refineries as a form of investment for their individual states.
Not as a government thing of doing things to the citizenry free. No. They should come together to garner enough funds, even if it is 30% of the cost. To build, assuming to build a 200,000 barrels capacity refinery will cost like $5 billion today. Just a rough estimate. $5 billion will build a 200,000 barrels capacity for you, as at today. If they can raise $1 billion together, I believe they can get the financiers and the partners that will key in, because we have the market, we have the population, we have the market in this country. And don't forget, Nigeria is the major driver of the economy of the whole of West Africa. If we can produce enough and we cannot consume it, the market of the whole of West Africa is in our hands.
And now to some tough warnings from the Taraba State Governor, Agbo Kefas, threatening to deal with any individual or group sabotaging his free education policies and 50% tuition fee slash in tertiary institutions across the state. The governor also says the EFCC may be invited to monitor the implementation of the World Bank-assisted projects in the state in order to ensure transparency and accountability. Governor Kefas gave the warning when the Taraba State University Visitation Panel submitted its reports on the findings on the institution.
On 5th January 2024, Governor Agbo Kefas inaugurated a visitation panel to the Taraba State University to critically look into the institution's governance, management and operational framework, among several other terms of reference. 4 months down the line, the panel is done with its task and is here to submit its report. Findings, according to the report, reveal that the institution's management requires a total and comprehensive overhaul to save it from collapse. Having received the report, the governor assures of meticulous perusal for implementation of their recommendations.
All the money that some lecturers are collecting from them in the name of handout and all these things, some unnecessary billing, they will vomit it at the right time. So, and if in your report they are found wanting, we will suspend the management of the university. We will suspend them. We want to do the right thing. We need the right people in the right place to do what is right. I'm not here to joke because I'm talking about the destiny of 4 million people.
The governor also met with heads of implementing agencies of World Bank-assisted projects in Taraba State behind closed doors. Speaking through his chief press secretary, the governor threatened to invite the EFCC to monitor compliance to standard and ensure the projects have direct bearing on the lives of residents.
It's giving them confidence that if they do the right thing, you always found all the projects that intervention from World Bank, from UNICEF, and other donor agencies. Still going to do its own part, and has been doing its own part of the bargain.
I'm here to allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria at all times.
The state governor also inaugurated 4 new special advisors, Christian and Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board members, as well as the Board of Taraba Internal Revenue Services.
Let's move on to Yobe State, where Governor Mai Malabuni has approved a 25-year Damaturu master plan and aims to replicate same in the 5 major cities of Potiskum, Gashua, Nguru-Gaidam, and Boyinyadi. The governor will disclose this while inspecting detailed equipment and commissioning of new Yobe State Geographic Information Service Complex. Also directs all land vendors in the state to register before being allowed to operate.
1 year after Governor Mai Malabuni came on board, a bill was passed into law to establish the state's geographic information services with the aim of processing all land documents in the state. A total of 179 million naira was recorded in processing land documents in the last 3 years, hence increasing the internally generated revenue of the state.
The revenue we have generated so far from processing only from April 2021 to date is amounting to 179 million naira. We would like to mention that this effort you have made so far in transforming land administration will go a long way, and I will tell you that in decades to come, people will always remember that we are the pace setter for this new digital process.
Governor Mai Malabuni, while inspecting digital equipment procured by the agency, announced a 25-year Damaturu master plan, in addition to a mandatory registration for all land vendors in the state to enable them operate.
I have approved the contract for the production of 25-year Damaturu master plan, and I am pleased to inform you that the team of experts engaged by the state government are ready to commence work. To reduce the menace of land grabbing, racketeering and scam, I hereby direct that all land vendors must be registered for proper records and security before they are allowed to operate. Similarly, all filling stations, hotels, bakeries and water factories, private school, corner shops and other commercial businesses in the state must settle their dues.
With the recent increase in population resulting from the relative peace being recorded in the state, approving the Damaturu Master Plan will increase its revenue generation as well as discourage construction of unapproved structures in the state.
Well, let's now get to the very conversation for the day, and it has to do with the controversial Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. It's a project that is expected to go up about 15 trillion naira, according to the estimation from the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, as well as it says it should take about 8 years to complete that project. We're going to explore all of this. But the latest which has generated these talking points is the reaction. He's been reacting to this particular project. A big critic of the project, the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, was also the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the last general elections. And he's come out to say that, according to a report by a Paris-based Africa Intelligence News Agency, that the son of the president, Sheikh Tinubu, is on the board of Chagri Group, one of the subsidiaries of the Chagri Group, who are the owners of High-Tech. High-Tech is the construction company that was awarded the contract for building that stretch of 700-kilometer road from Lagos to Calabar. We've been joined on the program by Mr. Ajide Ojo, his political analyst, to help us make sense of what's going on. Mr. Ajide, thank you so much. Mr. Ojo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. Good afternoon.
Let's see how much of this we can accommodate as much as possible. My first will be your immediate interpretation of the latest criticism of this project by the former Vice President.
I think former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is in order with his observation. If indeed Sheikh Tinubu is on the board of any of the Chaguri's group of companies, then there is a breach of conflict of interest. And then I'm waiting for the defense that the presidency will put forward. This Lagos-Calabar superhighway has generated a lot of furore. And I'm also trying to wrap my head around why the sudden interest in this road network. Is it that there is no road between Lagos and Calabar as we speak? Why are we spending 15.6 trillion actually, on this superhighway? And look at how many billions were paid in compensation. In Lagos alone, the landmark facility that was demolished, despite the fact that the original design of that road would not have affected so many businesses and, in fact, the landmark facility, it was rechanneled. And you ask yourself, what is the interest? You are talking of many businesses folding up, and now you are demolishing businesses that could have generated employment and provide tax opportunities for the government. There is also the fact that this particular 15.6 trillion worth of road project was not subjected to any competitive bidding. That is not in question. And you ask yourself, we have seen CCECC and several Julius Berger, Julius Berger, Strabag, and many other construction companies have been working in Nigeria. When did it become the custom of the administration to have a 15 trillion project that is not subjected to any competitive bidding? So that in itself is making a lot of people, is making tongues to wag as to what actually is the interest. Why is it that we have to spend this quantum of resources when the entire budget of the Federal Ministry of Works is not up to 1 trillion in 2024? Now you are spending 15 trillion plus on this superhighway connecting 7 states, and you are saying that it will take 8 years. Who says that Tinubu administration will continue from 2027? We have seen a lot of white elephant projects that were abandoned. Look at how many years it has taken to finish the second Niger Bridge. It's been more than 30 years before that second Niger Bridge was eventually completed. But my own worry is that couldn't we use that quantum of resources to fix the existing state federal roads? If the federal road network across the country receives as much as 15 trillion, If we are able to inject 15 trillion into their rehabilitation, we will have better road network. Because if it were to be rail line that we are connecting from Lagos to Calabar, it will have made sense. We will talk of haulage, we will talk of cargo, we will talk of several other things. But to say you want to do super highway and it has to be now, when you don't even have the money to fund the project, how are we so sure that along the line, 1-2 years along the line, there will be no review of that project for upward review of the cost of that project? So we are being told it's going to be 15 trillion. What if at the end of the day, by next year, because of the exchange rate, they say it will now be 25 trillion? What are we going to do?
All right, Mr. Ojo, just not trying to speak for the government, but I want to bring a few facts that the government has put out concerning this project, because it's an ongoing conversation. We know that the minister has said about 4 billion will be the cost per kilometer. They are doing the first 43 kilometers or so in the phase 1, which is the most viable phase, which is from 0 to somewhere down Lagos. But they are saying it's an EPC and F kind of contract. That means engineering, procurement, construction, and financing, which the federal government is supposed to do some counterpart funding of about 15 to 30%. I just needed to put that on and get your response in terms of the funding.
Even at that, why was there no competitive bidding? Does Gilbert Chakuri's company have track record of having done similar road projects in Nigeria or any African country? Why is it that it cannot wait? I'm saying, I mean, my brother Geoffrey, just imagine you pumping 15 trillion into the existing road networks and fixing those roads. Are we going to, are we not going to see better travel time, shortened travel time on those roads? Why is it that the procurement processes were not followed? You are talking of 4 billion naira per kilometer. I am saying, was there public procurement certification that this is value for money? Don't forget.
So, Mr. Ojo, if I may button, my apologies, if I may button. So, because if I have an information, I put it across so you can respond. So when we had a conversation with the minister and we raised this question about the competitive bidding, what he raised was the fact that just like, say, Julius Berger underwater bridge of the Lagos State Mainland Bridge or so, they've established some expertise. So they were the ones that were called. And given what High-Tech had done with Eco Atlantic, which is why they brought in High-Tech, that was their argument. I'm just putting the argument that they put forward to you.
It doesn't still hold water. They built Eco Atlantic. Was Eco Atlantic a road project or was it an estate? Then I think, to the best of my knowledge, Eco Atlantic was a road project, was a real estate kind of. I may be wrong, but that's my impression of Eco Atlantic. It wasn't a road project, and when you say they have expertise, why is it that from what we have read, most of the meetings that were held in Lagos were being held in Eco Hotel and Eco Hotel and Suites, which is also owned by Chaguri? Why is it that a number of things I've told you about the original design that was deviated from, and the demolition of the facilities that will now take hundreds of, several billions to reconstruct, even though they said they are paying about 2-point-something billion in compensation? Can that truly be the true cost of those facilities that were destroyed? So there were so many questions that are answered that I feel the minister himself wasn't too open about. And I understand that he cannot deny knowledge because it's under authority. But really speaking, there was no consultation, no public hearing, no I talked about Bureau of Public Procurement. Did they certify? Was there certification from Bureau of Public Procurement that, okay, this project is worth 4 billion naira per kilometer of road? So that we know that there is value for money.
All right, Mr. Ojo, we're totally out of time, but I must chip in this question. What do you think this does to the optics for investors coming into the country?
Well, it shows that anything goes, particularly if the conflict of interest thing is established, and Seyi Tinubu is actually on the board of director of one of the Chaguri group. We know that personal relationship has been established from what we have read in the media, that the president and Gilbert Chaguri are friends. And now if your son is on the board of one of the companies, and then you are awarding a 15 trillion naira worth of projects without any competitive bidding, without any due process, Bureau of Public Procurement certification that this project is actually worth 4 billion naira per kilometer. The optics is not very good for the government. I just hope that better explanation can be given, and we will see actually that this is a priority project, because I don't see it as a priority project. Not that it should not be done, but whether this is the appropriate time when many of the federal roads are crying for attention, when Federal Road Management Agency is being starved for funds, they don't have money to maintain the federal roads across the country. I think this is just misapplication of resources. It's not a priority project. It could have been done maybe 5-10 years along the line when all the federal roads have been fixed and they are motorable. Then you can talk of superhighway, because from all indication, this may end up to be a white elephant. You are doing 43 kilometers out of 700 kilometers. So at the end of the day, if there's no more funding, you just abandon it, and then it becomes another white elephant. So at the end of the day, you may end up spending up to 100 trillion to do a 700 kilometers of road. And that benchmark being set may be a bad precedent for other projects, particularly the Sokoto, Lagos, Badagry, that they are also flying, that they want to also do. Let's see how much that one will also cost.
All right, Mr. Ojo, apparently there's the end to this argument over Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road is far from over. We must thank you for your insight. As always, Mr. Jide Ojo is a political analyst joining us via Zoom. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. Do have a great week ahead. Stay safe and stay blessed. Have a great week.
And just before we go, the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja Diocese, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, is asking the federal government to arrest the high cost of living in the country, as many Nigerians are being impoverished on a daily basis. Speaking at a special mass in honor of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bishop Gagat, there he says that the increasing hunger in the country is fueling insecurity. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.